Okay. Just checking a few settings here. Hello, everybody. And there we go. Okay. We got another weekend. Hallelujah. Made it through another one. Now we have to go through the coronation of Mark Carney. Is everything okay? Audio's good? Audio's okay? Apparently it is. Yeah, okay. There's a few on here. And Marie. And who we got? Phil, Edward, Emma, Marie, Denny, Mr. Magoo, and Faye. All righty. Let's get rolling. Now, for some reason, I seem to be getting an error. Let me know if there's any issue. YouTube acting up again. It's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. So it says viewers will experience buffering. Let me know if you're getting any buffering. And I'll see if there's anything I can do about it on my end. And we'll just take it from there and fly by the seat of my pants. So I just tuned in a little bit for the Liberal leadership election. It's just a unbearable joke. And it was very hard to watch. I watched them prance out. Yeah, all four of them. The first three, they kept Carney till the end. The first three come out and they got a pretty good round of applause from the people there. But when Carney come out, of course, the carnation or incarnation of a Liberal leader, I guess, or something like that. Of course, the crowd went wild, and Carney had his wife. I see why he doesn't bring her out in public too much. And a few kids. I don't know if they're rented or if they're his or what, but hey, we'll probably never know that. I wouldn't put anything past them. So, I watched Pierre today in London, Ontario. I think he did a good job. And it was just shortly after that, I was just scrolling around through the internet, and I come across a channel. I won't name the channel because I don't want to dox them or anything. But the woman that posted it, I never even listened to the video. All I did was went straight to the comments because I seen the title and that was enough for me. And really slagging Pierre and the Conservative Party. Well, really promoting the PPC. That's fine, except it was the comments that I went through that got me. And they were 90% against Pierre, or they were agreeing with the person in the video. Now, I did reply. I said, it sounds like maybe you are a incognito liberal. Maybe you're getting paid, or maybe you don't realize what you're doing at a critical time like this. It's no time to start division. We have to stick together, like it or not. I'm not saying Pierre is the answer 100%, but you know what? PPC is not going to get the Liberals out. These people start voting that way, just might keep the Liberals in. I remember going through this a few years ago in an election. I even helped. I did a video with the local fellow that was running for the PPC here. and posted it to help him out. But at the end, he wasn't very happy about it, but I said, look, we've got to get every seat. We need every seat we can get. We can't give up any. The Liberals are sneaky. They're underhanded. Do you think they'll cheat? Well, I sure think they will. And we're up against the wall. So, it's every vote counts is what we're down to, right? Carney is dangerous. The liberal media, bought and paid for media, is promoting him big time. And we're going right now. I actually today I set up an account on Blue Sky because that's where all the Liberals are hanging out. So my screen name there is Sane Not Insane, and my icon is Chrystia Freeland sniffing some white powder. I think they'll figure out I'm not really a liberal. So I just got in there to stir up some trouble, right? Just kind of upset a few apple carts, kick a few rocks around, and throw a few rocks at people in there. They're having too good of a time, and I didn't like that. So I figured I'm going to get in there and be a disruptor and have some fun. Now Carney and Trudeau look like they're going to try to get rid of the platform X. They want to ban it in Canada. So there's just too much information getting out there. But they'll keep Blue Sky going, won't they? Sure they will. It's 100% liberal. But no, you can't have that X out there where people are posting things against His Royal Highnesses, Carney and Trudeau. Trudeau's going to be hanging in for quite a while. Okay, they say, well, when Carney gets selected as leader of the Liberal Party this evening, he will become Prime Minister of Canada. And I say, no, he will not become Prime Minister of Canada. He will become leader of the Liberal Party. Trudeau hasn't resigned yet. Trudeau said he intends to resign. He could stay on and have Carney as the Liberal Party leader. Well, this is the way I see it anyways. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not 100% up on all these little intricacies of crooked governments. But when it comes to Trudeau, I mean, you don't get any cricketer, So he doesn't want to give up power. He's been flying around the country, burning the place down, around the world, giving away money, making promises for billions of dollars. He wants to get boots on the ground in Ukraine. Now, they're dangerous. They're sick. Poland is they're training troops now. And they're talking about putting troops in the EU, are talking about putting troops into Ukraine. Well, that's NATO. Trudeau will jump at that. How can you have an election when we're at war? Right? They can put off an election for quite a while, enough to get us into a war. So I've even cut ties with some people until after an election. They're friends, and I can't listen to them praise Carney and put down the Conservatives. So for now, I've just cut ties. After the election, damage is done. Don't matter what's said. There's no sense in saying anything once the damage is done. I'm not going to point fingers and say, see, it's all your fault. I'm not like that. I want to keep the friendships going. So, I'm going to say something about Trump and Carney. Oh, I'm going to have a lot of fun on that blue sky, I'll tell you. So, yeah, anyways, it's all fun until somebody loses an eye. Yeah, okay. So, there's been a lot of stuff coming out, and a lot of it is basically from Sam Cooper. And I've got quite a bit of stuff here from Sam. I'm subscribed to his site, the Bureau. I'm just looking here. There's just so many. This guy's on to everything. He's on top of everything. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is a good one here. Trump has Trump never lets you down if you want to get some entertainment, and it changes daily. The Five Eyes, the fallout. Why the U.S. sees Canada as the weak link. Well, we kind of stand out as a weak link, don't we? Trudeau, you can't get any weaker than him. Him and his boyfriends. Speaking of boyfriends, I seen that squeaky little runt, pipsqueak there, Champagne on there talking. Man, I can't handle him. He's about 5'0", squeaks like a little rat. A good liberal minister. I wasn't surprised by the Financial Times report indicating that Peter Navarro, a senior Trump administration official known for his ultra-hawkish stance on China, was circulating plans to limit U.S. national security exposure to Canada. Well, they did the same thing with our CBS, Canada Border Services. The U.S. Border Patrol or whatever, they don't want to even deal with Canada because they're bought out, they're bought and paid for, they're crooked. That's right at the top. The U.S. perceives Canada as the weakest link in the Five Eyes intelligence alliance due to its vulnerabilities to Chinese infiltration. 2 weeks ago, a military source shared a report confirming that they shared this with Sam, confirming that similar discussions were taking place within the U.S. national security and military community, pointing directly to Navarro. And according to Sam's military source, expelling Canada from Five Eyes is just one of several actions under discussion. We can't be trusted here with this government. Sam says, as he discussed before, this aligns with broader U.S. concerns. For example, the People's Liberation Army's breach of Canada's Level 4 lab in Winnipeg, and the inexplicable return of the main suspects, Dr. Gui and Keding Cheng, to China after allegedly transferring sensitive bioweapon research to Wuhan. We all remember that when that went down. And what they do, Trudeau called an election. Let's get some coverage, get this covered up here quick. The fact that Canada also partnered with CanSino, a PLA-linked company, on a CO-19 shot only deepens those concerns. CanSino was part of the Winnipeg lab breach plot, according to CSIS. This isn't speculation, it's open source fact. Now, think about what the U.S. government knows that we don't. In this discussion with Jason James of BNN recorded before, FT broke this Five Eyes exclusion story. Sam answered his question about what the Trump administration really means when it warns of Canada's fentanyl vulnerabilities, as Trump escalates economic pressure and even suggests Canada should become the 51st state. His trade advisor, Navarro, is dismissing the report on Canada's removal from Five Eyes as crazy stuff. But make no mistake, before the Financial Times report, Sam already had sources pointing to these exact concerns. Now they're out in the open. Canada needs to take these concerns seriously and act accordingly. Well, this government is not going to act accordingly. We know that. It's all up to the incoming government if it's a change of parties, right? Yeah, Phil, Carney has too many dirty secrets, no kidding, and ties to China. I don't have the information on here now because I didn't plan on going down this path, but yeah, Carney's got deep ties with China, business ties with the Communist Party of China. I'll say it. I seen some guy on X threatening people in comments that they could be charged for misleading statements and slander against Carney. And no, we still have a slight little bit of free speech left. People should say, in my opinion, like that statement I just said, I should say that's in my opinion, because we're still allowed to have opinions as far as I know. Maybe not for much longer if the election goes the wrong way. We are, in my opinion, in a communist country. I didn't think I would have my so-called golden years. Well, they're not golden years. They're not even silver years. I think they're more like copper years under communist rule. But here we are. People kept voting them in. You can vote communism in, but damn, sometimes people got to just wake up and smell the roses. I guess people don't even realize they're under communism because they're living in a different plane of thought altogether than the rest of us. And they're not in a good spot, a good place. They think they are, but they're not. They're dragging us down with them, and I'm getting fed up with it. I just had another ban on the noisemakers, right? Another 179 or something they put on the list. Trudeau just another going away gift to us, right? Let's ban some more of those things. We can't have anybody having any. They had a big shoot up in Toronto at a nightclub or a bar or something, and whoopsie, I guess they didn't use any of those ones that guys use for deer hunting. No, they didn't. They used some illegal hand weapons. So, it's all a bunch of lies. It's all control. And frankly, there's a good percentage of us that are very, very sick of it. 80,000 people last year left Canada and moved to the United States. 80,000. I think it was just a little over 80,000. Hey, you're on the same page as me. October 2026. Saying that for a while. Don't worry, they're going to cling on as long as they can and do as much damage as they can before they have to call an election. So, I don't know if it's just me, but I just almost feel tension in the air. You see it online. People are fed up. There's a back and forth between the left and the right. The U.S. is dealing with it too. The problem with Canada, we've got it's like a 3-point or something. I'm trying to envision how this is, because you got liberal against conservative, liberal against the Republicans, against Trump. You got conservatives against the liberals, and some conservatives against Trump. Those are the ones we got to really talk to and drag back into the fold, these ones that are, tell them, hey, look, those are U.S. politics. Right now, it might be stuff directed at Canada, but look at Ottawa. Don't be looking south of the border. Look at Ottawa. That's what we got to focus on. We all have to pull these people back into the fold here and say, look, concentrate on Trudeau and Carney. They're the major threat to this country. If we can get them out, then we can have some negotiations with the U.S. But as it is right now, don't be flipping off here about President Trump in the U.S. Concentrate on Canada. So, and the other thing too, okay, there's going to be a debate coming up, right? Once the writ is dropped, then you have your debates, right? be a French debate and an English debate. But you know what? They're not compulsory. Carney doesn't have to show up. You know, he'd maybe show up for the English debate and say, well, he's got other commitments and he can't make the French debate. Something's come up. There's all kinds of weasel ways out. So it wouldn't look good if he didn't show up, because you'd be stuck with the Conservatives, the Bloc, the Sing, which would be basically pulling for the Liberals, and Elizabeth May, if she's sober enough to stand up for the duration, or not too hungover. No, she's just a miserable old hag. I call her the sea hag, because she's from the Gulf Islands out there on the coast. She's just an old sea hag. Oh yeah. It's not going to be that whole lot of fun, I'll tell you that. So here we have the U.S. wants us out of the Five Eyes. I don't blame them, because I agree. We shouldn't be in there. If there's passing secrets or information off to China, but not only that, is the Liberal Party here doing it. The Americans just busted 3 Chinese-American soldiers indicted for selling U.S. Army secrets to Beijing, including war readiness against China. This U.S. Army case follows Navy indictments of Jin Chao, Patrick Wei, and Wen Hang, Thomas Zhao. There's another article from Sam Cooper. It's from Washington. In a case underscoring the growing infiltration of U.S. military ranks by China's intelligence networks and troubling trends involving the recruitment of first-generation Chinese Americans, federal prosecutors announced indictments Thursday against 3 soldiers, 2 active duty and 1 former, for allegedly selling highly classified U.S. military secrets to buyers in China. I think those 3 got a pretty dark future ahead of them, as well it should be. The Justice Department unsealed indictments alleging that Jin Zhao, a supply sergeant with oversight of $55 million in Army materials in Washington state, led an espionage scheme involving the sale of top-secret U.S. military intelligence to individuals in China, including explosive information on U.S. military readiness to fight a war against China. Much of the case appears to center on Beijing's plans to take Taiwan by force, a concern of growing urgency for leaders in Washington, Taipei, and Tokyo, and how U.S.-led forces would respond, including what weapon systems and joint command structures could be brought to bear against China's strategy to surround Taiwan with naval vessels, bombard the island with rockets, and deploy amphibious landing forces. Zhao is charged with conspiracy to obtain and transmit national defense information, bribery of a public official, and theft of government property. He allegedly sold data on high-mobility artillery rocket systems, the HIMARS, and detailed documents concerning U.S. military readiness and exercises with an unidentified partner nation, which most likely refers to potential conflict scenarios involving Taiwan. Zhao reportedly used encrypted online messages to manage his contacts and transactions, explicitly seeking multiple buyers through brokers in China. Federal affidavits allege Zhao received payments totaling $15,000 for providing electronic media, classified hard drives, and a military computer to unidentified Chinese contacts. Zhao, along with other unnamed conspirators, arranged these deliveries primarily through WeChat. In one exchange, Zhao advertised intelligence material as, quote, good stuff, and instructed a co-conspirator to, quote, spread the news, it's brigade level, describing it as a very sensitive document, super difficult to get. For $15,000, he sold out the country, the military. Do they still stand them up against a post and have some practice, some target practice? Probably should. Let's make an example. In an October 2024 chat, Zhao offered a copy of an unidentified 42-page classified document priced at, you got $2,500 for that one. And another participant cautioned, this needs some time. This is way top. We must be very careful. One suspect urged others involved to switch to Signal, calling it the safest. This feels less risky. One classified document Zhao transferred to China described a U.S. Army Pacific simulation-driven bilateral and multinational command post exercise. This exercise was designed to enhance U.S. and multinational partner combat readiness and interoperability, strengthen alliances, and demonstrate U.S. resolve in securing the Pacific region against potential threats. Parallel indictments from Oregon and Washington charged Li Tian, an active duty soldier stationed at Joint Base Lewis McChord in Washington, and Ryu Duan, a former soldier from the base now living in Hillsboro, Oregon. According to the Oregon indictment, Tian secretly gathered information related to Army operations, including technical manuals and other sensitive material about the missions and capabilities of the Bradley and Stryker armored fighting vehicles, and then shared them with Duan in exchange for money. The alleged conspiracy between Tian and Duan, with Tian known as Boss Duan among some alleged conspirators, and Little Fish among others, occurred from November 28, 2021 through December 19, 2024. 3 years. So investigators said. Duan, an active duty soldier from 2013 to 2017, and Tian faced charges for conspiring to commit bribery and theft of government property. Tian allegedly entered restricted military installations to remove sensitive, non-public Army photos and documents. Surveillance footage from May 24, 2024, reportedly captured Tian photographing, well, secret documents on his office computer screen and removing them. Duan received funds from China-based financial accounts and paid Tian $500. They're getting cheaper. On March 29, 2023, according to their indictment, Duan also paid another unidentified accomplice approximately $3,200 for military information from June 7, 2023 to November 24, 2023. So I'm going to cut it short there, but these three were just grabbing all the information they could and flipping it for any amount of money they could get. So, and they weren't getting a lot of money. So when they're looking at life in military prison with no parole, they'll start to think back that that few bucks they got probably wasn't worth it. As far as I know, military prison is probably not a very good place to be at, especially if you're in there for espionage against the country. What's going on in Canada? If that's going on in the U.S., the only difference is the U.S. has got a lot bigger military and a lot more equipment advanced, and they're a worldwide force. We're small potatoes, but you know what? They did train Chinese troops here in Canada, right? For fighting here. So, there's that. Might not have gave them secrets, but we trained them. Unbelievable. So, I'm just glancing at the chat here. Rhea, wasn't a foreign interference getting solved, saying government needs to do more? Now in his last day he's going against the decision, saying Pierre will not take the security clearance. Yeah, there's another scandal there. Carney's got clearance somehow as a private citizen. The clearance that Pierre is not getting is it's from the I'm trying to think of the name, but somebody on here will know. It's the organization or the bill or whatever passed that Trudeau created. See, Pierre has clearance from Privy Council and as being a minister and MP and minister in a previous government. NSAID is the one that Trudeau created. So he didn't really have to sign that. That was just a scam to get him so that he couldn't release any information on that report. Something that I'm counting on somewhat that will break out if Pierre gets in, that he can release that information. That's why he's been holding out. So we'll see. But yeah, Trudeau created that NSAID just as a ploy. He didn't think that up all on his own, I'll guarantee you that. I mean, I don't think there's too much he can think up on his own unless it's trying to plan a holiday to get away because the heat's on. So Edward, yeah, that's right, there's an NDA in there, and he wouldn't sign it. And good for him. So that means that, nah, I don't think there's really, I think it's mostly Liberals are the ones, and Trudeau is probably top of the list. That's probably why NSAID was connived, put together. Just assuming, in my opinion. I gotta learn to keep saying that. In my opinion, Trudeau's a snake. Oh yes, there's a few more dropping off the jumping on the I'm not going to run again list with the Liberals. But there's some dropping off the I'm not going to run again list because they figure Carney's going to get them back in. So now they're saying, well, maybe I was too hasty. Maybe I'll run again. It's neither here nor there. I don't think they're going to get reelected. We won't know till dust settles when. Anita Anand is one that's bounced back and forth. She's setting an example for the other ones. They can't give up that perks and the money, right? Backbencher makes roughly $200,000 a year for sitting up in the nosebleed section, not really saying or doing anything, right? I mean, in behind the scenes, they'd probably take some notes from their constituents and pass it on to cabinet members, ministers. But other than that, not a whole lot. They're a liaison to the community. That's worth a couple $100,000 a year. April 1st, they're going to get an $8,000 raise. So I think they're $202,000 now. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's pretty close. So they'll be up around $210,000 a year. With expenses, of course, right? And then you drop down to the cabinet ministers. I think they're a little over $300,000, but they're going to get a $15,800 raise April 1st. I think that's the number. If not, it's awful friggin' close. And then you get up to the big kahuna. And he's a little over $400,000. and his raise, I'm not sure, but I'm sure it's more than the 15,800 that the cabinet ministers get. So I think he's going to be going up to around 440,000. That's where Carney will come in at, be around 440,000. So, and then their pensions. And what do we get? You get a 19% increase in the carbon tax. A few other gifts. My rent goes up. Yep. Let's see. NDP is done. Pretty much. That's one thing Singh has accomplished. Singh's going to support the Liberals again, though, right? He's pretty much come right out and said that. He said that, you know, well, first, I mean, one day he says, no, they're gone. The Liberals are done. First chance, I'm voting against them. And then the next day it's, well, I got to stay with the Liberals until they get some bill passed for the workers, which is some joke. He knows he's done, so he's just playing games. Yeah. Problem is the dippers are flipped over to the Liberals now. The voters. That's where they're getting their extra support from. So, Lawrence, where's Vast Thinker? I don't know. I don't know. Unless he's on here. Another name, but I don't think so. He would have got the email. So, we will see. Laocoon. Every lost NDP vote will go to the Liberals, yep. Yeah, they're definitely not going to Conservatives, that's for sure. Laocoon, I got to get you to send me that link for that Frank Vaughan video you were talking about. I tried to find it, I can't find it. I've seen a couple other people on that Celtic site were saying the same thing. Check that video out. So, sounds interesting. For the workers, but Trump gave us another month just in time for election. I noticed that too, eh? I'm sure lots did, yeah. Here's a month, get ready for the election, and we'll take it from there. Faye Knox, which one? I forget the name, but Laocoon knows the name of it. Something about, I don't know, because I don't have the title of the video, if that's what you were asking. You get the Carney-Trudeau nexus, how financial elites from Davos to Beijing are shaping Canada's next federal election. So we got Davos and China, and there's quite a tie there. As Canada braces for leadership change with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau poised to step down, Mark Carney emerging as his successor, and speculation mounting over a snap election as early as March. The defining question of Carney's campaign is whether he will govern differently from the deeply unpopular Trudeau. Carney's camp insists he will, particularly on carbon reduction and immigration, Well, of course he will, because the immigration will go to 1 million instead of 500,000. Issues that polls suggest have alienated a majority of Canadians. Yet a closer examination of Carney's elite network. You watch Frank every day. It's the one about PPC, anyways. Okay, it's guided by the principle that long-standing relationships of trust and shared financial interests will shape governance. Reveals a constellation of global influencers deeply tied to the WEF and China's trade and finance arms, particularly the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, the AIIB. At its core, this network of remarkable figures whose stated goals center on consolidating financial power across borders to coordinate carbon reduction policies and progressive social outcomes includes not just Carney and Trudeau, but also former Canadian ambassador to China Dominic Barton, Trudeau campaign backers Mark Wiseman and Gerald Butts, and AIIB's Jin Liqin, reportedly a senior Chinese Communist Party operative. How cozy, eh? Carney's influence also appears to extend into Canada's state broadcaster, former Power and Politics host Evan Solomon, who now works in a consultancy with Carney's wife and Gerald Butts. In 2015 was embroiled in an art dealing scandal involving Carney, whom he referred to as the Gov. Well, I bet you Trump was going to refer to him as the Gov too then. In a leaked email, Solomon reportedly wrote, "Next year in terms of the Gov will be very interesting. He has access to the highest power network in the world." For Canadian voters, understanding the intricate plutocratic web surrounding Trudeau and Carney is not an academic exercise. It offers a glimpse into the forces lining up to shape the nation's climate, trade, and social policies. While the WEF has become a lightning rod for both criticism and political polarization, opponents accuse it of fostering undemocratic policymaking, while defenders dismiss such concerns as conspiracy theories. An objective, network-based analysis of its ties to Beijing's financial arms and the key figures in Carney's orbit suggests a well-defined pattern of shared interests. These interests are likely to drive Canadian governance under Carney, unless he makes the illogical decision to sever ties with the power networks and public-private partnerships that have defined his ascent. We know that's not going to happen. How does this relate to Canada's pending election? Across the West, concerns over immigration, housing affordability, and energy policy are shaping voter priorities like never before. Carney's allies argue that the urgency of the climate crisis demands coordinated, high-level solutions, ones driven by big private capital and partnerships with Chinese institutions like the AIIB. Skeptics, however, see a Davos elite imposing sweeping policies on carbon, trade, and immigration with little democratic input. These issues are open to debate. What is not, however, is the deep entanglement of Carney and Trudeau's networks, so thoroughly woven together through global forums like the WEF that they are indistinguishable. While Carney seeks to distance himself from Trudeau's unpopular record, his closest allies remain the same WEF-linked figures who helped shape Trudeau's policies. Like Pierre says, there ain't no difference between the two. Global banker and Chinese finance maximalist. A former Goldman Sachs banker, Mark Carney rose to global prominence in 2008 as governor of the Bank of Canada, credited with stabilizing the country's banking system amid a worldwide financial meltdown. Yeah, that's been kind of blown out. In 2013, he became the first Canadian to lead the Bank of England. We know how that went. an unprecedented appointment. During his tenure, Carney integrated climate risk into financial stability assessments, positioning himself as a leader in climate-focused central banking. He also materially deepened the UK's financial ties with China. How cozy. In his 2013 speech, UK at the Heart of Renewed Globalization, Carney announced that the Bank of England has signed an agreement with the People's Bank of China that dovetails with the possibility of establishing a renminbi clearing bank in London and our broader policy of openness to hosting foreign wholesale banking activities. Helping the internationalization of the renminbi is a global good consistent with London's historic role. Yeah, trashed the country and left. By 2020, Carney had stepped down from the Bank of England, assuming the role of United Nations Special Envoy on Climate Action and Finance, partnering with media baron Michael Bloomberg. It was quite the partnership. He co-founded GFANZ, an initiative aimed at aligning trillions of dollars in private investment with net zero goals. Through GFANZ, Carney intersected with Jin Liqin and the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, a China-led institution whose green infrastructure projects in Asia matched Carney's vision for climate finance at scale. 2022 press release announcing the partnership, Carney declared that the world cannot address climate change without finance. Similarly, the global financial system cannot do its share without the leadership of the Asia-Pacific financial institutions. Of course not. Our new APAC network will bring Asian finance to the heart of GFANZ to help solve this global challenge. And then Jin echoed the sentiment, stating, at a time when our world is facing unprecedented challenges, it is increasingly important to strengthen our linkages across borders, deepen our resolve, and resist the urge to turn inward. So, it goes on and on. And Trudeau's shadow finance ministers. Domestically, Carney's advisory relationship with Justin Trudeau fueled expectations that he might one day enter Canadian politics. Those whispers ended definitively on January 16, 2025, when Carney's succinct, "I'm in," on X, announced his candidacy for the Liberal Party leadership, immediately making him the front runner. He's got an endorsement from Michael Bloomberg, co-sponsor of GFANZ. Allegiance with Dominic Barton, already evident in their joint roles for Trudeau over the past decade. Guardian reported in 2013 that Carney had enlisted U.S. consulting giant McKinsey and Company, that's another scandal-ridden business, to oversee a sweeping strategy shakeup. Everything he's involved with is shady. Everything. To use a blunt metaphor, Trudeau's top strategist, Gerald Butts, functions as the sinewy connective tissue linking the powerful limbs of Mark Carney and Dominic Barton within the body of Trudeau's corporate structure. Gerald Butts never went very far. He went across the border to the U.S. after he got booted out of here and been working through from New York to Trudeau continuously. All of them, behind the scenes. Barton's plugged into Trudeau's circle, notably with Gerald Butts. But he served as chairman of the Liberal government's Advisory Council on Economic Growth. That's McKinsey style big ideas. You'll hear McKinsey, that name coming up a lot in committee. Conservatives keep bringing up McKinsey. There's a lot of money got shuffled around with that outfit. So the advisory nexus, Carney, Barton, and Butts, forms the backbone of a potential Carney administration. So in the background behind Carney, we got Barton and Butts as assistants to Carney. The only one missing out of the picture is Trudeau, but he hasn't resigned yet. And he's going to be working in the background with Butts and Barton. I'll guarantee that. It's a band of amigos. They're bandits. So this was another one from Sam. So and then there's the Century Initiative. Remember I said earlier here that he was going to change immigration from 500,000 to 1 million? Oh yeah. That's the if you ever looked it up, if you're not familiar with it, the Century Initiative. And that's Barton, McKinsey and Company. We're involved in that too. And they want to bring in as many people as possible. And it's a CCP influence working under that Jin Liquin at the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. They're all involved in this, flooding the country. I'm trying to look for the numbers here. Here it is. Barton's influence on Trudeau's administration extends beyond Canada-China relations. Alongside Mark Carney's reported campaign backer Mark Wiseman, Barton founded the Century Initiative, an organization advocating for Canada's population to reach 100 million by 2100, primarily through large-scale immigration. So I think they wanted to bring in 1 million a year to get up to that 100 million. Well, it wouldn't be quite. Anyways, that's 2020, 75. No, it's a lot. Anyways, I don't have to try to figure out the numbers. So this is our new leader that's being installed. What do you think of that? Did you ever hear anything about that on CBC, CTV, Global? I haven't. You know, now I think about it for about 2 seconds. No, of course not. So, is it going to come out? Well, what if it does? It won't get any airtime. That can be guaranteed. You know? So, we're done. Done like dinner. And they're laughing at us. Now, I don't know if anything's going to come up. See, the problem is with these debates, too. They're orchestrated. It'll be the mainstream media. Maybe they'll bring in Tom, the ambassador there in New York, Trudeau's buddy from CTV, Tom Clark. Maybe they'll bring him in to moderate again, eh? He'd be a good one, old buddy of Trudeau. He'd look after Carney. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if that's who shows up to moderate, be Tom Clark. We know then that it's 100% rigged. It's going to be rigged anyways, but... So... Mr. McGoo, send all immigrants to the Northwest Territory. I'd say Tuktoyaktuk sounds like a pretty good spot. Tuktoyaktuk. And the young kids can go to the university there, Tuck U. Of course, Carney's going to build 2 military bases up there because Pierre said he was going to build one. So Carney said he'd build 2. Pierre's changing his position these days. Yes, he is. It's getting closer to. It's getting closer to the election. So, if he starts falling into the same path as Scheer and O'Toole, I don't think he'd go that far. The problem is he's got good shadow ministers right now. He's got a cabinet ready to go. Larry Brock, Michael Barrett, Cooper. There's a bunch, eh? They can't revolt on the leader, but I think they're allies. I think he'd let them do their work. So, and you were born in Tuktoyaktuk, were you? There is no Tuk you there, is there? Son, your math was way off calculating something else, yeah. You must have been doing the numbers. Let's see. Edward, I have voted, same number. Now, oh, I see. You're talking about likes or something? I see 3. We got, how many on here? Oh, looks like 40, something like that. Yeah, 40. Yeah. Canadians need to see the SDTC documents before election. Yes. We got to know who is in there that's running. Just think how many they don't know about, though. These are just the ones they know about, and we can't see them. So, you know, it's like when you see some mold or something, black mold or something, you start to clean it out, you find there's more and more in there, right? And you got to really dig to get it all out. That's kind of what it's like with these traitors in the government. You might catch a few, but there's more. Just like that one just went over there about the U.S. military, right? They were recruiting others in there, sending stuff to China. I think the U.S. has got a little tighter security in their government than we do here. I know the last administration, Biden administration, was probably horrible for that. But all in all, maybe they're just catching up now with the new administration. But when you got a liberal government, and in my opinion, those are the traitors, they're not going to be exposed by the government, are they? Especially, in my opinion, that the government might own the RCMP and the judges and the media. Look, they just lost that case against the prorogation of Parliament. Gee, the judge sided with the government. Well, I would have been gobsmacked if the judge sided with the plaintiffs instead. So, we didn't think that was going to happen for us. I mean, you go on that Blue Sky, but not just on there, on social media, and they're all these ones wrapping themselves in the flags are still calling the convoy and the people that were protesting across Canada a bunch of traitors and idiots. They're too stupid to realize that they're the idiots. We were standing up for our rights that were taken from us. When I asked Buddy there what he thought of the convoy, he didn't answer me. He just looked at me and said, well, sort of shook his head, no. I thought, wow, very indoctrinated. when they think that I didn't get a chance to throw back at them. What do you think of the Palestinians protesting death to Canada? You okay with that? You got to pick a side, pick a lane, stay in it. And if you don't like one, then that means you're probably okay with the other ones. If you're siding with a corrupt government, then the corrupt government doesn't care about Palestinians out there protesting death to Canada and the United States and Israel. But damn, don't go out there and blow your horn and wave a sign or a flag that says F Trudeau on it. That's what got under his skin. And it went right across Canada. So, and it was seen around the world too. And he'll wear that. And my flag will be forever. I got it at my other off-grid place, and it will be waving high on the wall inside with a few others. Now, yeah, it's funny, I'm seeing more Canadian flags, but we know why. Like I just said, they're in support of the government. So, then I still got my little F Trudeau sticker on my front plate on my car, and I see some people looking at it disgusted. Some will come up and say, I like your license plate. What have we got here? Hong Kong, Nana. New territories. The only one who can help us is God, and I pray that God will wrap his arms around our country and protect us from the evil around us. I ask in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord. I don't think that's going to work because there's too many people in the country who have turned their backs. And that never works out good in history. So, no, I think we got dug into a hole. Not us, we didn't dig the hole, but yeah, these people dug it for us. Emma, your brother's the same way, wants Justin to stay on. Now, I think when I looked at Mark Carney's rally, there were a lot of people there that had gray hair and white hair. So there was a very senior crowd. I don't see that with Pierre. I'm thinking the youth, the younger people might be our saviors this time. I think they've seen through the Liberals. They lost their freedom, and I don't think they're forgetting that. And a lot of people got hurt over those issues. And I think the youth, for a change, are not Liberals. So, yeah, we might get lucky. And those are the ones that count, is the youth. They're the ones coming up. They're the ones that are going to be working, paying into the system, building things. Not the people that are on their pensions. But then again, Pierre said today that he was going to want to a cut on income tax, which would help everybody. He's talking about cutting a lot of taxes. We could use that. We're heavily taxed, overtaxed. Rhea, your daughter's voting for the first time. Right on. Hope she takes some friends with her. So, Marie, same sheepish behavior as 2020. Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see. They say we should be voting by April, but I think it all depends what the polls say that Carney's going to be watching. I think the one that's really whacked out is that Ecos. So I haven't really seen anything lately on polls, but I'm just checking here to see if there's anything up recent. Have you guys seen anything in polls where if it's changed? If the Conservatives are ahead, if the Liberals are ahead, and I know polls don't really matter that much, but they sway people. So people look at them and, well, that's a gross picture. Jonathan Wilkinson and Justy Trudeau. Yeah. No, I don't see any coming up here, so. There's a guy here I used to watch, Spencer Fernando, and did he ever flip left? He is, he's a write-off. 79 terra firma. So long, Canada. Sure was fun. It was a good ride while it lasted. 10 years ago, we lost it. Let's see. Emma, I only took voting seriously a dozen-ish years ago. Yeah, and it's kind of a bad time because there's not much, hasn't been any change. It's the same government for 10 years. Hey, Conservatives ahead. Are they ahead enough for a majority, though? It's going to be a nail-biter, I think. And we were doing so good, and I'm very disappointed that Trump brought these tariffs in. He didn't quite understand how it was going to backfire on us. Trudeau pushed for them, and he got them, and, damn it, we're paying the price now. And you can't, as Harper would say, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. The damage is done. That's why Trudeau resigned. And that's why Carney's put in. It's all part of their game. So, if we don't beat them, we got to talk to people. Conservatives asked me if, in an email if they could put a lawn sign on my lawn. And I said, yeah, but I'm going to catch them and say, look, I want to keep that inside before you, I'll put it out later, because the reason I want to keep it inside, because I want to have the pleasure of the Liberals coming to my door, knocking on my door, and I can go out and scream at them, and I'll chase them all the way out to the street, and I'll say, get off my property, off my lot, don't you ever come back here again, I don't want to see you, you traitors. My neighbors, I got 2 Liberals across from me and 1 Liberal beside me. They'll see me out there screaming at the 2 Liberals, or 2 or 3 Liberals doing the door knocking, because I'm fed up. I hope they see it. Last time for the provincial one, they came around, they looked at the door and left because there's a big F Trudeau sign on the door, so they decided we better not knock on that one. So I got to get that sign off. I want to have some fun with them. I want to terrorize them, call them what they are. Emma Fernando, wasn't that Meatloaf's dad? Spencer Fernando. He's in Winnipeg. Winterpeg. 6 million, terra firma, 6 million new Liberal voters brought into the country since 2015. Mark Miller is legalizing 6,000 illegals. They're going to get citizenship. 6,000 illegals, that's just a start. So they're already giving them citizenship so they'll be able to vote. So I mean, that's not crooked. That was just released the other day. Mark Miller talks about somebody's not, that's anti-Canadian. Well, just look at the Liberal Party. Why wasn't JT's sexual proclivities on front page? Why wasn't blackface on front page? He's the anointed one, Trudeau. You can't say anything about him in the media and mainstream media, or they'll lose money. And now it's Carney. Can't say anything bad about Carney. He's a businessman. He's going to save us. He's the only one that can save the country now. That's what they think. That's what they'll tell you. You talk to them. These brainwashed nuts. They'll say, nope, no. Can't trust the Conservatives. Carney, he's what we need. Trudeau messed things up, but Carney's going to fix it. It's a warped mind. You can't fix it. Mr. Magoo, you got 14 of them renting a house down the street. Well, that won't be long because they'll have your house shortly. That's how it works. First it's one house, then it's 2, 3, and then it's a block. So, I know, I lived in the big cities. Ed Carberry, sorry, head washed, no brains there, yeah, flushed out. It's an empty shell. I don't know, folks, but like I say, things are supposedly. Now, if you listen to Brian Lilly from The Sun, he's tuned in, and Lauren Gunter, more so Brian Lilly, he's saying he figures April 22nd will be voting day. I hope he's right, and I hope the polls are skewed. So, anyways, we shall see. I don't know. I'm losing faith. I've been through so many of these. I know a lot of you have too. These elections that just, or leading up to the election. Look at Scheer and O'Toole. They should have won both those elections. Neither one of them would have been a good leader. But that's beside the point. At least we would have got rid of Trudeau, and if Trudeau lost either of those elections, he probably wouldn't have run again. So, and maybe Carney wouldn't even have been in the picture back then. So, that's hindsight. But they turned liberal. And nobody wanted a fake liberal. They wanted the real thing. They kept Trudeau in. And then, oh, Randy. And then they, I don't know. When I have neighbors that say, well, I really don't like that other guy, but he's got a nice personality. Well, now Trudeau won't be in there, but they'll say, well, Mark Carney, he's smart. He ran the Bank of England, the Bank of Canada, and, Pierre hasn't even had a job. That's what the Liberals keep saying. Well, Pierre, he hasn't even had a job. Being a member of Parliament is a job. And somebody that's been in there as long as he has, he knows he was in the government, with Harper. He was a minister. He knows how the system works. Carney doesn't. He's relying on Trudeau, Butts, and Barton. So he'll just go along with what he's told, and then he'll do his dirt on the side with the bigger carbon pricing. No more rebates. There weren't enough anyways. They were spent a lot more, but even those crumbs they were throwing back, you won't even get those now. So, Randy not even voting. Sit around and polish the hardware. Polish the hardware and just make sure everything's working smooth. Good action. Smooth action on them. Don't let them come get them. And I'm thinking may not either, RD. But look what they're going to do too. They're already talking about, Elizabeth May was talking about it, and she said the parties are getting together. Liberals, NDP, Greens. Greens don't really count, but anyways, she thinks she does. We'll give her that. She thinks she's important when she's sober. Or maybe when she's drunk she thinks she's important. When she sobers up she realizes she's nothing. But anyways, they're going to do that shared voting. So if it's close in one riding between Liberals and NDP, then they'll just kick their votes over either way, whichever one it takes, just so they can get that seat so the Conservatives can't get it. So that's going to be happening too, right? There's a lot going on, a lot of dirty stuff going on. And then throw in the bloc in Quebec. Quebec is a burr under Canada's saddle. It's just very annoying. It costs a lot of money. Don't get anything back for it. Get abuse. Alberta's paying through the nose for Quebec. And Ontario, of all places, neither one of them deserve any money. And I wish they would stop. I said this last week. Stop with those transfer payments. Make the provinces stand on their own. Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, I went over this last week, got billions of dollars of natural gas under us. They won't let us get it. And that's insane. Not only do we have the gas, we have the refinery with the LNG plant. It's all fairly new. I call it new. I worked on it. That was in, time goes by quick, eh? That was in probably around 2015, somewhere around there, 2013. But yeah, it's relatively new. And you can either import or export through it. Right on that ice-free port year-round. Emma, why is it so hard to stop the payments? Because it's in the, I think it's in our Constitution, or I believe. At one time, Alberta wasn't, I don't know if they ever received payments. I think they might have, but I'm going way back, like way back. But there wasn't these transfers like there has been going on here for the last few decades. I don't think it was really set up that way, because what it did was it turned a lot of provinces into welfare provinces. Communism. Let's call it what it is. So you take from the wealthy and give to the poor. What's that? Denny, Canada has $17 trillion of natural resources untapped. Yeah. Untapped oil under the Great Lakes. We got to get that. Trump wants the Great Lakes now. Most of them. I seen the map that he's talking about, redrawing the line. Southern Ontario, including Toronto, be annexed into the U.S. because that's where the line takes that big dip down in. So I doubt that's going to happen, but anyways, that's what's being put out there. Oh, Edward Carberry, I was just, sorry I didn't see your comment. I just happened to think of that at the same time, what was said about the Americans, 1776, Upper and Lower Canada. Yeah, well, that's what it is. You draw a line right across the Great Lakes. It takes Superior and Ontario and some of Huron. So that includes Southern Ontario, Toronto, London, Ontario, all down through there, right? So, Nick, sweet. See you, Toronto. Gray, Bruce will stay Canadian. Yeah. Yeah, no loss. Toronto, Trump, you can have Toronto. We'll give you that one. No problem. Please, please, annex it. Yeah. We'll see. He's just starting his term, so he's got 3 more years to rattle things. I see Iran said nope, no, we're not gonna. Trump sent Iran a letter, the mullahs over there, whatever they are, and said, you know, I want to talk here about this nuclear crap that you're dealing with, and nope. They got back, said no, we don't want to talk about that. So it's you know, yeah, I'm afraid somebody said you look younger. I got a haircut. Danny Ring is, Trump can have Ottawa and Quebec too, yes. Yeah. I don't think they want Ottawa, and I'm pretty much sure they don't want Quebec. Quebec's a crybaby. They don't need a bunch that's just going to whine and snivel and cry and jump up and down, throw hissy fits and tantrums, and call everybody names. So, no. Vivo Cristo Ray 777. We don't want Ottawa or Quebec. No. Quebec should have been sent on their way a long time ago. When they had their vote, they should have just been, see you later. Back then I said, why doesn't the rest of Canada have a referendum on whether or not we want Quebec to stay? We know how that would turn out. They'd be long gone. Then you hear them whining and squealing. A little pipsqueak runt. Champagne. I can hear him squealing now. Why my ancestors fight in 1812 for nothing? Yeah. Now, I heard that the White House had plans from back in the 30s on the shelf covered in dust on invading Canada someday. But it just sits there. I don't think anybody looks at it. Maybe maybe the President Trump hasn't seen that yet. Betty Power, hello. No sense in keeping someone back if they really want to go. I don't think they really want to go. They just want to pretend they want to go so they can get more stuff. You know, I don't like it. I'm going to run away unless you give me something. Like little kids, right? Carbe, you seen that one? Yeah, but Lawrence, they smoke too much weed too, yeah. in or they're out. Period. Yeah, it's like a case of something that's really hard to get rid of, if you know what I mean, right? So, like Emily goes movie stars threatening to move to Canada. I'd like to meet them at the airport and say, get back on that plane. Get back to Hollywood. Stay out of here. They wouldn't last the winter. Coming up here from Hollywood, they wouldn't make it through the first winter. So we're probably safe. The cold is kind of a good thing in a way. I was thinking that the other day, but I don't know now. I see a lot of people coming in from warm countries and warm continents, even like Africa and Sudan and places that pretty hot climates, and they're wintering out here. Maybe they don't gloat much, but I don't see too many moving up here from Texas or Louisiana or Florida. But apparently Ellen moved to London, England when Trump was elected. Well, that didn't do her much good because there's an extradition treaty between England and the U.S. So if her name comes out on the list, she can be brought back. Some of those critters moved to other countries that I think that don't have extradition treaties, the guilty ones. Who's Glenn? What's Glenn saying? If Ontario and Quebec re-elect the Liberals in the upcoming election, this country's done. Yep. Alberta and Saskatchewan will be separating to go it on their own or joining the states. Well, there's that group from Alberta contingent going to D.C. I don't know if they're down there now or not. I just seen that the other day. They were on their way. So to talk about hooking up with the U.S. That's from Alberta. Well, if Alberta goes, Saskatchewan's going to follow. And if Saskatchewan follows, well, BC's going to have to go because they're going to be left out on their own out there. And then Trump would have his eye on Yukon because then he's got to run a straight run all the way up the west coast, Alaska. See how there's interesting times. Not good, but interesting. Lawrence, Trudeau was on the original list. Yeah, and the FBI's been scrubbing names. It'd be funny if they gave a page all redacted except for Trudeau's name in the middle of it. That'd look funny. Yeah, we might as well take this guy out. He's a creep. In my opinion. Northern BC will join Alberta, Phil. Yeah. Yeah, BC could break in half too, and then maybe the southern half might join Washington State. I mean, they all think alike. A bunch of idiots in the lower mainland and a bunch of clowns in Washington State. They'd probably get along okay together. Randy, government's still prorogued. I know, that's insane. It's another dirty liberal trick. Like I say, that judge, he said, nope, they decided, no, that's okay. I can't really do anything about that. Maybe in the future somebody can appeal it and, after all the damage is done. Nick, broomball time later, folks. Okay, Nick. Catch you on the flip side next week. Anyways, I think we're pretty much at that time. So, I guess no sense in drawing too much right now. Just keep an eye on things. I know some of the liberals got their panties in a knot there when you mention Trump. They just get all cringed up and they start to shake and tremble a bit, and that's always fun. But you can always antagonize them a bit. make their lives miserable, because they're going to make ours miserable if they can. So anyways, hang in there, folks. Thanks a lot for joining in. We made it through another one, and we'll get on her again next week. And hopefully, someday we'll have some good news. You know, maybe it'd be a car wreck or something. Like, I don't know. I better stop there. Okay. Been a blast. Thank you very much. God bless. Don't take the path of least resistance. Remember that. There's a good book that tells you that. So, bye for now. Oh, before I go, this is the beginning of St. Patrick's Week, right? We celebrate a week here, or I do. So St. Patty's Week, and next Sunday is just 16th, one day before St. Patty's, but we'll still be celebrating. So gotta love the Irish. Bye for now.